You're full.
Is the idea that we don't need withered old prunes like Jeff Sessions telling us what we can put in our bodies. We don't need that.
It's true.
And that how many Jeff Sessions are there in the power structure? And then where it gets really fucking cool, man, check out David Graeber. You should have him on the podcast. My God, he's fucking brilliant.
What's he do?
He's an author. And he, a philosopher, I guess you could say. But he is incredible, and he wrote a book called, I think it's called The Utopia of Rules, that I've been reading, which is pretty fucking badass. And it's just sort of breaking down like the bureaucracy that we're in right now. Bureaucracy, all the fucking forms you got to fill out to do just about anything these days.
Right.
Like all these fucking forms. It's insanity, right?
Right.
But then where it gets really interesting is he's right now, so like in like communist states, the corporations in the state are kind of the same thing. So there's these like Ministry of Labor. The stores are all national stores, you know? And so we think that that's not what's happening right now. But actually, because the people who are running a lot of the corporations used to be in government, and the people who are in government used to be running these big corporations, one of the cool points he makes, and also because the government is making the rules that the corporations are working by, but the corporations are putting their own agents into the state, he's saying that actually the line between the state and private companies is really blurry right now. They're kind of merging together, but we like to pretend they're separate. For example, what's happening right now with the fucking FCC trying to take away the internet, with Verizon having one of their fucking pig drones in a super position of power right now is trying to take away the freedom of the internet. The state can be like, the corporations can blame it on the state. It's
well, just clarify what you mean by that, because they're not trying to take away the freedom of the internet. They're trying to get rid of net neutrality.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what it just mean is that you will have to probably pay more to access things that require more bandwidth, and it's not going to be what it is now, where every website has open access to it.
It sucks.
And you get two versions, right? You get the capitalist version, I think it's a good idea, and then you get the tech version, which thinks it's a terrible idea. I almost always go towards the tech version.
Have to.
Yeah.
But that's the anaconda, you know, the way an anaconda kills somebody. Every time you exhale, it squeezes in a little bit. That's all. Like right now, it's the squeeze in is, okay, this fucking internet, it sucks if you're somebody like Jeff Sessions.
That's not where the money's coming from. I think you're misinterpreting the whole idea. It's all just a business thing. It's like being able to throttle the data and being able to decide, like if Netflix wants you on their, if you want to have Netflix on the network, they want to be able to work out some sort of a deal. They don't want to treat Netflix like it's any other sort of streaming service. Like you're looking at there's business transactions. They're looking at it in a business sense. They're not saying the internet sucks. No one is trying to like squeeze the internet and stop it. What they're trying to do is make more money.
Well, okay, great. They're trying to make more money. Yeah, I do know what you're saying, but I think it's a slippery slope, and it's the idea of the internet being treated like, I don't know, water. The internet being treated like just a thing that no corporation should have any kind of say. And that to me, it has to stay like that, because the moment some corporation, whoever it may be, gets to start deciding, you guys need to pay a little bit more. Right. And if we establish that corporations in the state aren't as separate as we like to think, then suddenly there's all kinds of back channels. There becomes a new way to begin to filter out content. And you could say it's for money. You start building financial walls around things, or you start making things vanish into the background because they aren't in some big conglomerate that's paying off the corporations more or whatever. You just mess up the whole thing, which as far as I can tell, it's doing great. The internet's great. This fucking compound you're in right now, you know, a lot of it came from the internet. This thing we're doing right now, it's the way the internet's been working.
Oh, dude, no one's a bigger proponent of the internet than I am. I just think when we're talking about these issues, you got to be really like objective, precise about what's trying to happen here. They're not trying to silence dissent. They're just trying to make as much money as possible. I mean, this is a weird, tricky time when it comes to information. We do have to be very careful, because it could wind up being like, hey, you get your internet from Comcast. Well, Comcast does no longer allow blah blah blah, the Laugh app that has your podcast featured on it, or some new streaming service that's yet to be discovered that will be in the future challenging YouTube. So YouTube gets together with Google, they're owned by Google, and they get together with Verizon, and they make it exclusive for the Verizon network. If you want to get on YouTube, you have to be on the Verizon network. Sure. I mean, this is all inside the realm of possibility.
At the deeper level, though, anybody who thinks that government has not been totally captured by corporations isn't paying attention. I mean, that's not news in this country. I mean, you come from Europe, and this is one of the problems I have with anarchists and libertarians. I think they're very naive about what the world would look like if there were no government regulations.
Yeah, I agree.
Every river would be too poisoned to swim in. The air would be fucking, because corporations, it makes sense for them to dump their shit as near to the factory as possible. Yeah. They don't give a fuck about birth defects and dead people. It doesn't matter.